The story kicks off with a flashback of Ovan and his sister Aina, who is sick. This whole scene is setting up some major emotional baggage for later, establishing Ovan's core motivation. It's a bittersweet moment that hints at the deep, complicated reasons behind everything that's about to go down. The intro sequence gets us up to speed, recapping the whole wild ride so far. It reminds us about the lawless online game, the world, and how Haseo, our protagonist, has been fighting to save his friend Shino. It's a necessary info dump to make sure we're all on the same page. The recap continues, highlighting Haseo's journey as the terror of death. He's been chasing a player killer named Triedge, only to find out it leads to a much bigger, system-wide problem called AIDA. This part really emphasizes the stakes and how Haseo got tangled in this mess. The big twist from the previous volume is slammed down again for emphasis. Ovan, Haseo's mentor and the leader of the Twilight Brigade, is the real Triedge. This betrayal is the central conflict driving Haseo, making him question everything he's fought for and everyone he's trusted up to this point. Haseo is absolutely spiraling after the Ovan reveal. He's feeling like a total fool for being manipulated this whole time. His monologue is full of angst and confusion, trying to figure out Ovan's endgame. Why make him stronger? What's the master plan? It's a classic protagonist in despair moment. The consequences of Ovan's actions are getting real, with talk of the AIDA phenomenon spreading beyond the game and into the real world. The idea of amplified emotions controlling the population is genuinely terrifying. This raises the stakes from a personal quest to a potential global crisis, which is a massive escalation. Back in the game world, things are a bit chaotic. Haseo and his crew are trying to find a missing NPC, a mellow grunty, who apparently ran away because his guild headquarters shut down. It's a lighter side quest that shows even non-player characters in this world have some level of emotional depth. The search for mellow grunty continues. Haseo is a bit cynical about caring for an NPC, but his companion, Atoli, is genuinely concerned. This quest serves as a nice bit of character development, forcing Haseo to engage with the softer, more community-oriented aspects of the game he usually ignores. They find Mellow Grunty, and he's having a full-on existential crisis, thinking his disappearance is punishment for not eating his veggies. It's hilariously absurd, but also kind of sad. Atoli's kindness eventually coaxes him back, showing how empathy can work even on programmed characters, a recurring theme. The plot thickens as Yata, a key figure from CC Corp, goes missing in the real world. This is a huge deal because he's one of the few people who actually understands what's going on behind the scenes. His disappearance signals that a new, powerful enemy is making moves. The new villain makes his grand entrance. It's Sakaki, who has somehow fused with AIDA and taken over Yata's position as a GU administrator. He's on a massive power trip, declaring himself the new boss of the world. This dude is clearly unhinged and ready to cause some serious problems. Sakaki lays out his new world order, demanding allegiance from Haseo and the others. He's got the backing of CC Corp's higher-ups, who only care about profit and stability, not the moral implications. Of course, Haseo and his team are having none of it and immediately reject his offer. Haseo takes a break from the main plot to do a quest with some friends. It's a nice change of pace that shows he's not just a lone wolf anymore. He has people who rely on him and who he cares about. These moments of camaraderie are what keep him grounded amid all the chaos. Hi there! If you want to enjoy more gaming lore without grinding for 60 hours, hit that subscribe button. I do the grinding so you don't have to. Your support really helps the channel. During the quest, they encounter some spooky monsters, leading to a classic dungeon crawl battle. It's a standard gameplay segment, but it reinforces the bonds between Haseo and his party members. They work together, they banter, and they get the job done, showing their growth as a team. The team discovers outer dungeons, weird, glitched-out areas created by AIDA's corruption. These places are off the grid, meaning not even Sakaki's surveillance can find them there. This gives them a secret base of operations to plan their next moves against the new tyrannical admin. In the secret dungeon, the group confirms that Ovan is behind Sakaki's power-up, pulling the strings from the shadows. Everyone is trying to figure out his motives. The team splits up, with some searching for Yata in the real world, while Haseo and others stay in the game to fight back. Haseo has a moment of introspection, realizing he can't run away from this fight because it's tied to his own identity. He doesn't understand why he's an epitaph user, why he met Ovan, or his role in all of this. He decides to see it through to the end to find answers. A player killer, PK, tournament is announced, organized by Sakaki. The grand prize is actual cash, which is totally unheard of and immediately suspicious. To make things weirder, player killing is now allowed even in safe zones like towns, turning the entire game into a chaotic free-for-all. At the Sage Palace, the former champion Taihaku is shown fighting, but something is wrong. He's surrounded by AIDA, and his legendary sword, Maxwell, seems to have been corrupted. It's clear that Sakaki is using the tournament to spread AIDA's influence and corrupt powerful players for his own purposes. The chaos in town is escalating, with players randomly attacking each other. Haseo's friends get caught in the crossfire, which makes him furious. This event is clearly designed to bring out the worst in players, and it's working perfectly, creating a toxic environment that benefits Sakaki's plans for control. The team meets in another outer dungeon to discuss the PK tournament. They realize that no one is questioning Sakaki's bizarre rules, suggesting that the entire player base is slowly being influenced by AIDA. The server itself is becoming corrupted, making everyone more aggressive and compliant with the chaos. Haseo runs into some old rivals at the arena, who are all excited about the tournament despite the obvious red flags. They seem unusually eager to fight, their competitive spirits amplified by the AIDA-infested environment. Haseo is the only one who seems to see that something is deeply wrong here. In a moment that really shows his character growth, Haseo encourages his friend Gaspar to open a shop in the middle of the PK-infested town. He promises to protect him, showing that he's no longer just a self-centered avenger, but a leader who wants to protect his community and their way of life. Atoli reveals that she has awakened her own avatar, a rare and powerful ability. After the emotional trauma she experienced, she's determined to fight alongside Haseo instead of being protected. This is a huge step for her character, turning her from a damsel in distress into a key player. Haseo goes on a quest with some grunty characters, which turns into a ridiculously funny dance-off. It's a moment of pure, silly fun that provides a much-needed break from the high-stakes drama of the main plot. These quests help to flesh out the world and its quirky inhabitants. After the quest, Matsu warns Haseo to be careful, acknowledging that Sakaki is targeting him specifically. Even though they are opponents in the tournament, there's a sense of camaraderie and mutual respect. Everyone knows Haseo is at the center of this storm, for better or for worse. The tournament begins, and Sakaki puts Haseo on blast, framing him as the villain for the entire crowd to hate. The arena itself has become an AIDA server, amplifying the crowd's negative emotions and directing them all at Haseo. It's a setup designed to break him mentally before the fight even starts. Haseo and his team face off against a wave of PKs from his past. The crowd's hostility, fueled by the AIDA server, makes the fight even more intense. It's a grueling battle that tests their teamwork and resolve, but they manage to pull through the first round, much to Sakaki's annoyance. In a shocking turn of events, a powerful player named Sirius is defeated by a mysterious team called the Hetero Trio. Haseo realizes they are infected ones, players granted immense power by Sakaki. They represent a new level of threat, beings who have completely given in to AIDA's influence. Haseo gets a call from some old acquaintances from the Moon Tree Guild who want to talk about Sakaki. It turns out they're also investigating the weirdness of the outer dungeons. This whole interaction hints that there are bigger forces at play, and that even former antagonists are concerned about Sakaki's takeover. Pai seems suspicious of Zelkova, the former Moontree leader, who seems to know way too much about the secret, glitched parts of the game. Zelkova was asking about things in the outer dungeons besides AIDA, which makes Pai wonder what his true motives are. It's another mystery layered on top of everything else. Haseo faces off against a team of trash-talking beginner hunters. The confrontation gets heated, and Sakaki tries to egg Haseo on, wanting him to unleash his rage and his avatar. The entire match is a psychological test, with Sakaki attempting to push Haseo back into his old terror of death persona. Haseo manages to control his anger and wins the fight without losing himself to the avatar's power. It's a huge moment of growth, showing that he's no longer a slave to his rage. He's learning to use his power responsibly, which is a major step in his journey from anti-hero to hero. Kun, one of Haseo's closest allies, is feeling down after getting dumped. He drags Haseo on a quest to get his mind off things. It's a humanizing moment for the usually suave and confident character, showing that even the heroes of this story have their own personal problems to deal with. Meanwhile, behind the scenes, a mysterious figure is talking with Sakaki, clearly unhappy with how the tournament is being run. This person seems to be one of Sakaki's superiors from CC Corp, but Sakaki, high on his own power, basically tells them to back off. He's gone completely rogue. The semi-finals pit Haseo against his former mentor, Antares. The crowd is still booing Haseo, but Antares gives him a pep talk, saying the boos are a sign of his strength. It's a classic master versus student battle, but with a sense of mutual respect underneath the rivalry of the fight. Haseo wins, but Sakaki accuses Antares of throwing the match. He then displays footage of Haseo's avatar, framing him as a cheater who uses illegal hacks. Sakaki masterfully manipulates the crowd, turning the entire player base against Haseo and branding him a public enemy. It is a masterful smear campaign. In a shocking betrayal, Endrans and Sakubo, two of Haseo's allies, appear alongside Taihaku, siding with Sakaki. Haseo is absolutely devastated by this turn of events. Sakaki revels in his despair, having successfully isolated him from his friends and turned him into a pariah. It is a very low moment for our hero. Still reeling from the betrayal, Haseo agrees to go on a quest with Antares. It's clear he needs to clear his head and figure out what to do next. Antares uses the opportunity to give him some tough love advice, telling him to get his head on straight if he wants to win this fight. Antares tells Haseo that while his avatar might seem like cheating to others, he has a larger purpose he needs to fulfill. He needs to stop worrying about what other players think and focus on the mission. This is the pep talk Haseo desperately needed, reminding him of the bigger picture. It's time for the final match against the hetero trio, the infected players who took out Sirius. Haseo's real enemy isn't them, but Sakaki, who is using them as puppets. The team knows this is more than just a tournament match. It's a direct confrontation with the man trying to destroy the world. During the fight, Haseo hears the pained voices of the players trapped inside the hetero trio. Ignoring the risk of being manipulated by Sakaki, he decides to use his avatar to save them. It's a selfless act that shows he's willing to do whatever it takes to help people. After defeating the hetero trio and freeing the players inside, Haseo has won the tournament. But Sakaki is not done yet. He reveals he still has Endrantz, Sakubo, and the corrupted Emperor Taihaku as his pawns for the final title match. The fight for the Sage Palace is far from over. Haseo goes on a quest with Atoli to find a golden bird, a callback to an earlier quest they did together. It's a quiet, reflective moment for the two of them. Haseo starts to realize how much Atoli has changed, and more importantly, how much he's changed and grown to care for her. Haseo has a moment of realization about his feelings for Atoli. He finds himself feeling relaxed and happy when he's with her. This is a huge development for a character who started out so closed off and consumed by revenge. He's finally opening himself up to new, positive relationships. The title match begins. It's Haseo, Kun, and Atoli against Taihaku, Endrantz, and Sakubo. Sakaki is gloating from the sidelines, ready to watch Haseo be crushed by his former friends. The emotional stakes are at an all-time high, as Haseo has to fight the people he once trusted. In the middle of the fight, Taihaku starts to resist AIDA's control, driven by his love for his beautiful, cursed sword. Sakaki tries to push him over the edge, telling him to give in to his hatred. It's a struggle for Taihaku's soul, but he ultimately fights back against the corruption. The big twist is revealed. Endrantz and Sakubo were faking their betrayal the whole time. They were pretending to work for Sakaki to find an opportunity to strike. They turn on him at the critical moment, completely foiling his plan. It was a long con, and it worked perfectly. Enraged, Sakaki fully gives himself over to AIDA, transforming into a monstrous being. He declares himself a god of the world and prepares to destroy everyone. This is the final boss fight of the arc, a direct confrontation with the source of the tournament's chaos. Now it has truly begun. Haseo's friends, Kun and Atoli, lend him their power, their avatars merging with his to create a new, more powerful form. It's a classic power of friendship moment that gives him the strength he needs to face the godlike Sakaki. They are all in this together until the very end. Haseo defeats Sakaki, ending his reign of terror over the Sage Palace and the game. The tournament is finally over, and Team Haseo are the champions. Just as they're celebrating, they get a message that Yata has been found, leading them directly into the next major plot point. The group learns that Yata has shut himself off from the world after being betrayed by CC Corp. His pride is shattered, and he's fallen into a deep depression. It's a sobering reminder that the events in the game have serious consequences for the players in the real world. Taihaku officially hands over the title of Sage Palace Emperor to Haseo. He has a philosophical discussion about finding new purpose after losing a passion, and Haseo admits he's still figuring things out. It shows Haseo's newfound humility. He's not the arrogant player he used to be. Saku reveals a shocking truth. She isn't a real person, but a second personality created by Bo to protect himself from bullying. Now that Bo has friends like Haseo to protect him, Saku feels she's no longer needed and plans to disappear. It's a tragic, complex situation. A flashback reveals a conversation between Ovan and a younger, more arrogant Yata. Yata is bitter that he wasn't chosen to be an epitaph user, despite his love for the game's lore. This scene provides crucial backstory on their relationship and Yata's motivations, which are rooted in jealousy. The team finds Yata, but his despair and jealousy cause his own avatar to go berserk. It turns out Yata is the final 8th epitaph user, the Prophet. The group is forced to fight his out-of-control avatar to calm him down, a tragic confrontation between former allies that has to happen. After defeating Yata's berserk avatar, a mysterious prophecy is revealed. It speaks of a figure with an aberrant key in their left arm and a key of twilight in their right, destined to bring about the end of an age. All signs point to this being Ovan. Pai confronts the defeated Yata, telling him that he can't be loved by the world because he refuses to accept the love of the people around him. It's a powerful emotional moment that forces Yata to confront his own selfishness and his obsession with being recognized by a system. Bo runs into Aina, Ovan's sister, who has mysteriously appeared in the game. They have a sweet, innocent interaction before she is suddenly consumed by a blast of AIDA and disappears. This kicks off a new crisis, as the team now has to track down and save Bo. Haseo and Pai dive into an outer dungeon to chase after Bo. The data stream is unstable, and they have to fight their way through glitched-out monsters called outer bugs. The rescue mission is on, and the environment is more dangerous and unpredictable than ever before, which is saying something. Following a tip from the forums, Haseo looks for a player who supposedly saw a ghost girl in goth clothes. This leads him on a wild goose chase, but it confirms that Aina is a key part of this mystery, and her appearances are causing data anomalies throughout the game. They finally find Bo in another outer dungeon, and he's with Aina. She speaks in cryptic phrases about hatred and love before vanishing again. It seems she is connected to the core of the AIDA phenomenon, and her brief appearance leaves more questions than it does provide any real answers. Haseo gets roped into a quest that serves as an entrance trial for a PK guild. He has to hunt down applicants, which brings him face to face with a lot of old rivals and wannabe player killers. It's a fun distraction that lets him flex his skills and see how the game's community is doing. During the PK trial, Haseo runs into Natsume, who is trying to get famous so her old guildmates, Bordeaux and Grain, will notice her. It's a surprisingly heartfelt motivation for a seemingly goofy character. She is still trying to reconnect with her friends who became lost ones, which is admirable. With all 8 epitaph users finally awake, the prophecy from earlier becomes the main focus. The team deduces that Ovan, who has AIDA in his left arm and is an epitaph user, is the one destined to bring about the twilight of the gods. His master plan is finally coming into focus. Ovan contacts Haseo directly, inviting him to a final confrontation. He tells him to come to a specific area and use area hacking to find him in an outer dungeon. This is it. The fated meeting where all of Haseo's questions about Tri-Edge, Shino, and Ovan's betrayal will finally be answered. The confrontation takes place in the Creator's Room, a hidden area containing the game's deepest lore, including the original text of the Epitaph of Twilight. Ovan reveals that to save Shino, Haseo must completely destroy him. It is a 1 in a million chance, but it's the only hope left. Ovan pushes Haseo to use his fully developed avatar, the Terror of Death, to consume him entirely. He believes this is the only way to trigger a system failsafe called the Rebirth, a program that can reinitialize the entire network and potentially cure the lost ones like Shino and his sister Aina. After a grueling battle, Haseo defeats Ovan. It's then that Ovan confesses his true goal. Everything he did, from creating the Twilight Brigade to manipulating Haseo, was to save his comatose sister, Aina. He needed Haseo to become strong enough to activate the Rebirth program. A bittersweet end. Haseo is furious that Ovan never trusted him with the truth. He calls him out for all the pain and suffering he caused to achieve his self-serving dream. But Ovan stands by his actions, saying he did believe in Haseo, which is why he chose him for this terrible but necessary role. Ovan reveals his personal Key of Twilight was the gathering of the 8 Epitaph users. He explains that the key is different for everyone. It's a personal truth, like a bluebird of happiness. With his part played, he triggers the Rebirth, sacrificing himself as the network is rebooted. Haseo is thrown into a void, his consciousness damaged by the Rebirth. He's forced to confront his past self and his journey, from a vengeful PK to a hero with friends. He has to figure out who he is now and find his own truth to move forward, which is a big task for him. Haseo accepts his past and present, integrating the different parts of his personality. He decides to see things through to the end, not for revenge, but for the sake of his friends and the world. This act of self-acceptance allows him to awaken a new power, the Xth Form. Haseo wakes up in the Netslum, a hidden server for hackers and AIs, where he's greeted by Zelkova. It turns out Zelkova was the one who hacked his PC to unlock the Xth Form. All of the other Epitaph users were also blown into this parallel world by the Rebirth's aftershock. The good news is that the Rebirth worked. AIDA is gone, and the lost ones are slowly waking up. The bad news is that the Rebirth also created a shadow, an anti-existence called Cubia, which is now threatening to destroy not just the world, but the entire global network. Yata explains that Cubia is the shadow of the Epitaph users, a consequence of using a power that was never meant to exist. This monster is now spreading through the network, threatening a third network crisis that could cripple the real world. Ovan's solution created an even bigger problem. Haseo meets Aina, who is now awake. She knows who he is because her sleeping consciousness was linked to Ovan's arm, letting her see everything he saw. She's not grateful, however. She's furious at Haseo for not being able to save her brother. This is just another problem for him to handle. Aina is attacked by one of Cubia's minions, a Gomorrah. She rejects Haseo's help, declaring that if her brother is gone, then the whole world can be destroyed. She would have preferred to stay unconscious and linked to Ovan through AIDA, rather than be awake and alone in a world without him. The team learns that fighting the endless swarms of Gomorrahs is pointless. Their only chance is to find a way to communicate with Aura, the ultimate AI goddess of the world. Ovan once sought her power to fight AIDA, and now the team believes she might be the only one who can stop Cubia. At a holy cathedral, Aina presents the Epitaph of Twilight book. It reacts to the epitaph users, revealing that the combined power of all 8 is the true key of Twilight. Since Haseo's avatar has absorbed the data of the other 7, including Ovan's, he is now the key. Haseo uses his power as the key of Twilight to summon Aura. She appears, using Aina's body as a vessel. However, she says she has no power to decide the future. That power belongs to the players. The fate of the world rests on the will of its human users. With Cubia's corruption causing a global network crisis, the team takes refuge in the net slum. Yata and Zelkova use the Serpent of Lore to monitor the situation, which is dire. Nuclear power facilities are going offline, and the world is on the brink of a catastrophe. It is a very dangerous time. Despite the hopelessness of the situation, Haseo rallies everyone to fight. He argues that as long as there's something they can do, they can't just sit around. They decide to fight the Gomoras to buy time, while Zelkova locates Cubia's main body. They are going to need some help. Just as they prepare to fight a losing battle, reinforcements arrive. Players from all over the world, including old friends, rivals, and even former enemies, have answered Haseo's call for help. They all come together to protect the world they love, inspired by Haseo's determination. Now they have a chance. With everyone's help, they manage to get the Gomorrah swarms under control. Zelkova finally locates Cubia's main body. Aina gives Haseo her blessing, asking him to save the world that her brother loved. It's time for the final battle to decide the fate of both worlds. The epitaph users combine their powers, entrusting them to Haseo to fight the massive Cubia. He transforms, channeling all of their will into one powerful form. It's the ultimate team-up, a final, desperate stand against the anti-existence that threatens to erase everything. It is now or never. After a massive battle, they manage to break into Cubia's core. Yata warns that destroying it head-on will cause a massive data explosion, triggering the network crisis anyway. They're trapped in a no-win situation, where victory and defeat look almost the same, which is a massive problem. Aura appears again, using her power to connect Haseo to the thoughts and feelings of every player in the world who is cheering for him. Their combined will and hope for the future is the key to overcoming this final obstacle. It is not just about the epitaph users anymore. Just when their power isn't enough, a miracle happens. Aura channels the prayers of everyone, and the data of Ovan's lost epitaph appears, completing the circle. With the power of all 8 avatars truly united and the hopes of the entire player base behind him, Haseo prepares the final attack. In a spiritual realm, Haseo has one last conversation with Ovan. Ovan tells him that endings are just new beginnings and that their story is never ending. He entrusts the future to Haseo before fading away, finally at peace. It is an emotional and fitting goodbye between the two. Aura explains that Oven's heart was awakened by Haseo's anguish and desire to save him. The bonds between their souls are what drive the world forward. She sends them back, the crisis averted, with the future now in the hands of the players who fought so hard to protect it. In the aftermath, Shino is finally back. Haseo meets her at the cathedral where their journey began. She reveals that her consciousness was also linked to Oven's arm, and she saw everything. She understands the sacrifices he made. The reunion is bittersweet, colored by everything they've lost and learned. Haseo brings Atoli to meet Shino. It's a slightly awkward but necessary meeting between the two most important women in his life. Haseo is being honest with himself and with them, showing how much he has matured. Shino gives him her blessing to move on and be with Atoli. Haseo and Atoli hold hands, finally together. It's a quiet, heartfelt moment that serves as the emotional climax of his journey. He started as a lonely, vengeful player, and now he's a hero surrounded by people he loves and who love him back. He is a new man. Haseo and Atoli head into a new event area called the Forest of Pain. Tabby, a friend from the old Twilight Brigade, is supposed to meet them there, but she's nowhere to be found. It seems she's gone on ahead by herself, which is very typical of her. After fighting through 50 floors of the dungeon, they find Tabby, who fell asleep after getting lost. She tells Haseo she's quitting the world to focus on her real-life goal of becoming a nurse, a dream that was initially inspired by Shino. It's a fond farewell to an old friend. At the end of the 100-floor Forest of Pain, Haseo is confronted by a mysterious entity who asks him a series of philosophical questions about his choices. It's a strange, surreal encounter that seems to be judging his worthiness. It is another test for the young hero. For passing the test, Haseo is granted a reward, one final, dreamlike vision of Ovan. Ovan speaks of their never-ending bond and the preciousness of their shared memories, telling Haseo to walk his own path. It's an ambiguous but hopeful final encounter, leaving Ovan's ultimate fate a mystery. Haseo tells Atoli about his vision, unsure if it was real or just a dream. But he knows one thing for sure: Ovan was smiling. He feels confident that his old friend and rival will return someday, bringing the long, epic story of dothackgu to a hopeful and open-ended conclusion. Gaming lore is long and confusing, but I break it down every week. Subscribe so you never miss a plot twist or hidden detail. Thanks for watching.